Something you might not know. Right now, plants in your garden could be harming the environment. Ohio just released a list of 36 plants considered invasive species. These plants will now be illegal to sell anywhere in the state. 9 on your side's Brianna Malloy tells us why.
Many of these plants first became popular because of how hardy they are and because of how fast they grow. But now biologists say that is exactly the problem.
This plant grew everywhere and anywhere.
You might recognize this tree. It's called the Callery or Bradford pear.
Because all of a sudden they were coming up just here and there and, it just wasn't right.
Here at Natorp's nursery, Ron Wilson says the Bradford pear was once their top seller.
I mean, everybody had an ornamental pear in their yard.
So how did this tree go from fan favorite to the banned list?
It was a good tree gone bad.
Well, that all began in this biology lab at UC. Dr. Teresa Cooley was part of a team tasked with finding invasive plant species. They designed a number of tests to see how well plants reproduce.
And a lot of these trees, you don't notice them until it's almost too late.
As for the Bradford pear, well, these seeds were in a freezer for almost 9 years, and almost 80% of them still grew.
It took me by surprise, but it also just shows how hardy this particular species is.
But that hardiness has serious effects on Ohio's ecosystem. These trees crowd out other plants and destroy animal food sources.
We have gorgeous sites where we have high species diversity, really rare species, and once we see these invaders come in, everything changes and we lose those, unfortunately.
As for Wilson, he isn't worried about the ban affecting his business. He says many nurseries diversified on their own when they realized the tree was invasive.
You would have seen just rows and rows and rows of pears, and here we are, 1.5 left, and then that's going to be it.
But only time will tell if this ban will be effective. Because if there's one thing this tree is good at, it's making a comeback.
We'll never get rid of all of them. It's always going to be here. But the fight now is to keep them out of your own yard, your own garden, out of the parks, and keep them under control as much as we can.
And you can find Ohio's full list of invasive plant species at WCPO.com. Indiana also has a list, and Kentucky is working to create one. Brianna Malloy, 9 on your side.
You'll learn something new every single day. All right, straight ahead, local students got some words of wisdom.
Dreams fuel aspirations, fuel successes, and so that's why I told them to have their eyes on the prize.
The reason Harvard University's president was in the tri-state and the special place the Queen City has in her heart.
Plus, cyber snooping, the Ohio man accused of developing a code to spy on thousands, and how you can protect yourself.
I'm John Matteries. 2 Sam's Club stores in the tri-state shut down without any warning. What this means for members and pharmacy customers. Coming up on 9 on your side.
You're watching 9 on your side at 5:30. Keep it here. An Ohio man is accused of hijacking computer webcams. According to the FBI, 28-year-old Philip Durachinsky used the program Fruitfly to watch and listen to people without them even knowing. Durachinsky faces several charges, including computer fraud, wiretapping, and identity fraud. Police officers say no one was immune, not even their own department.
We have individuals, businesses, universities, government entities who all have been victimized in this instance. It goes to show that anybody, regardless of your expertise, can be victimized by these individuals.
To keep cyber snoopers from looking in on you, the FBI recommends covering up your webcam when it's not in use.
Students at Withrow High School got quite the pep talk today. The president of Harvard University actually showed up at the school. Dr. Drew Faust says Cincinnati has a special place in her heart. Not only are there active Harvard alums living here, but she used to volunteer at Children's Home in the Queen City. Dr. Faust says her message to students at Withrow today was not to tell them to go to Harvard necessarily, but to go to college and to dream big.
Sometimes it's hard to imagine yourself in a place that's different from the one you're in, and you have to have some notion that change is possible in order to make it happen.
And here's another gem from Dr. Faust that mimics a quote from Einstein. Aim for where you want to be. You can always double back if things don't quite work out.
Sudden shutdowns. That was the scene today at more than 60 Sam's Club stores nationwide. Just ahead, consumer reporter John Matteries will show us which tri-state stores have now locked their doors for good, and what this means for local Sam's Club members who may have to drive much further to a store.
You're watching 9 on Your Side at 5:30.
A big shock today for hundreds of tri-state shoppers. 2 Sam's Club stores shut down without warning, leaving customers out in the rain wondering what the heck happened. Consumer reporter John Matteries has been on this story all day long and has the latest. John.
Kristen, viewers are asking us about their Sam's Club memberships, whether they can now get a refund, and also what about prescriptions at the pharmacy at stores that are closing. So we are on your side with some answers after the surprise shutdown of Sam's Oakley and Loveland, which a lot of people call the Fields Erdel Road store. You could see it on their faces. Shoppers stunned to find the Sam's Club Oakley store closed.
Oh, it's closed?
They're closed.
Why?
That's the million-dollar question.
Just walked up here, I saw the news stations all parked here, and I wondered what was up.
A sign only said, Sam's Club is closed today. We regret any inconvenience. But it was more than an inconvenience for this woman, Sherry, whose father needed his heart medicine.
Brought him from the cardiologist's office. I don't know if he does have a new prescription. They've increased his medicine.
Luckily, they eventually let her in for Dad's pills. Employees were as stunned as customers, and none would talk to us. But 9 on Your Side did speak with Walmart corporate and learned this is happening nationwide. In fact, 63 Sam's stores have just closed permanently. 2 local stores are among them, Oakley and Loveland, though their pharmacies will remain open for 2 more weeks.